We're going to begin with the brows. I'm going to be using a spoolie brush and an angled brush to perfect my brows along with some brow powder. If you want to use some gel, go ahead. Take your spoolie brush and start by brushing your brows up and out. This way you get a good understanding of the brow hair and the shape you want to create with the products. With your angled brush, gather some product out of that eyeshadow, flick off the excess, and start at the base of the brow to create that foundation of the brow shape that you want, starting from the inner corner, making your way on the outer corner. Using short, fast strokes, you can really perfect the tail and the length of that tail you want to be, and also how sharp you want. In the head of the brow, turn your brush vertical, do brush strokes going up like a hair-like motion, then you can finish off the rest of the brow and creating the shape that you want. With the spoolie, go ahead and brush through to create some blending so it looks more natural, just like hair. On the other side, you're going to repeat the same thing starting from the base, and then when you get to the head, you're going to flick the brush to a vertical shape and brush in an upward motion, just kind of like you're creating little tiny hairs in that brow. You can blend out with that spoolie or use this opportunity to use some brow gel to really cement in the hairs in place. Moving on to eyes, we're going to start by creating a little bit of a primer with either a concealer or an eyeshadow primer from your lashes all the way up to the brow bone using your finger to create a nice generous coat before we go in for shadow. So 3 brushes are my favorite to use when I'm doing eyeshadow. So I use a series of fluffy brushes and flat brushes. Flat brushes are really good for flat surfaces of the face and also flat surfaces of the eyes. So you can see how you're going to create more of a patting motion. And then you're going to move on to fluffy brushes. I like a soft brush to really blend color and then another one to kind of erase hard lines. So let's start off with the fluffy brush and a more medium toned eyeshadow. We're going to set this into the crease, and one of my favorite techniques to do is this sort of round buffing motion and alternating between that sweeping motion. I'm not just using sweeping motions because that can create really hard lines. So using a blend of both of that round buffing motion is key. Then I move into a clean brush and just erase the lines. You're going to do the same thing on the other side, but remember, you're not going to buff away the entire shape of the eye, just the lines. Then you're going to take your flat brush, moving into more of a metallic or shimmery eyeshadow to place onto the eyelid using a stamping motion. This creates really good intensity and pigment and really shows off the texture of that metallic even better. If you want to create a little bit more dimension, grab a tiny bit of a darker color and do that same buffing round motion in the outer corner of the eye with something just a little bit darker. Remember, textures in the crease should always be more matte, so you're going to want to avoid anything shiny in that area. You can see how there's a little bit more dimension. But now we need to do a little bit of eyeliner, so I like to go back to an angled brush, and I love using a gel eyeliner. And so I scoop a little bit out with a spatula, and then I get a generous amount on the head of the brush, but also on the sides of the brush as well, not overloading it, but just getting an adequate amount of product. When moving to eyeliner, it's important that you look in the mirror and tilt your head backwards. This gives you a nice taut surface for the eye. So that outer corner of the brush, I like to face it towards my ears when I'm doing the outer corner of the eye. And what I'm doing is I'm just connecting the dots, creating these almost like presses and stamps. So you'll see the brush is facing my nose when I'm working on the inner corner of the eye, and you're going to do the same thing on the other eye. Now, when I am doing my left side, I have to move my hand or my elbow over my body and work from a different angle, and that's possibly going to happen with you as well. The most important thing to know here is that you're just stamping, you're almost connecting the dots. It takes a lot of practice, and also just making sure that you're really patient with yourself. You're going to use an eyeshadow when you want to do the bottom. So you're creating that stamping motion one more time. And again, the point of the brush should face the nose when you're doing the inner corner, and it should face the ears when you're working on the outer corner. Now let's build some volume and dimension into the eyelashes. So the first thing to do is to grab your eyelash curler, and you're going to start by clamping down at the base of the lashes, and you're going to actually clamp now in the center of the lashes and at the tip. So you're actually clamping in 3 separate sections to create curl and to create volume. Again, you're going to start at the bottom, you're going to clamp down a few seconds, then you're going to go to the center for a few seconds, clamping down, and then you're going to hit the tips of the lashes, clamping down once again to create that bend in the lash. Now you're ready for mascara. So, my trick here is to get a ton of mascara down by the base of the lash and then pulling up. You notice that closing your eye into the brush of the mascara helps so much by really loading up that base of that lash line. Then you can generously coat your bottom lashes, and you're making this really silly face. I know we all know the mascara face, but it really helps to get that angle into the bottom lashes. And then if you ever get any mascara on your eyes, just let it dry and grab a Q-tip and let it flick right off. It's so much easier than smearing it right away. Next, it's going to be blush. So with blush placement, it's really important to start on the outer corner of the eye and kind of make your way down to the top of the cheekbone. Place blush in a patting motion in that area just so that's the most concentrated, intense part of the cheek. Then you can pull it up to the outer part of the cheekbone and into the center of the cheekbone. I love to use these buffing motions because it really helps to create a seamless blush look. And making sure it sits on top of the cheekbone will give you a really beautiful lifted look. And so it doesn't drag down the face. You could do the same thing on the other side and really make sure you're buffing with those round buffing motions to create a seamless effect. If you need to use your finger to blend anything away, totally do so. Now you're ready for some lips. So you're going to naturally line the line of your lip. If you want to go a little bit more outside for fuller lips, totally fine. But I like to use these long, slow motions, not a short, fast motion. Then you can add your little bit of lipstick. Something a little bit more natural is great for a soft glam look, nothing too intense. And then a little gloss just in the center of the lip to give a little bit more texture. For the final step in all makeup is setting spray. So if you have a setting spray, hold it a few feet away from your face, generously coat the face, making sure you're getting all of the angles. And that is it. It's your soft glam makeup look. Here it is.